Lynchy, first off, how's the knee feeling, mate? Obviously having had surgery in the off-season.
Yeah, very well now. Starting to get to games, so I've done an extensive amount of rehab work with Duncan Callaway and the guys. So I was only really in that transition period, pre-Christmas, but once I've sort of come back after Christmas, I've sort of been doing everything. So really comfortable where that's at and feeling really strong in that area. So looking forward to getting stuck into the games.
So not so much for disruption then for yourself?
No. I've certainly had a lot of time to be able to get myself ready for the start of the year. So as I said, done a mountain of work with the physios and rehab guys there. So really confident and can hit the ground running.
So it's at full strength now. I guess you're well and truly training main group, everything. Yeah,
full strength. So post Christmas I was back into doing everything. So I wasn't too far off pre-Christmas as well, but that's the plan we sort of set out, and luckily haven't had any setbacks.
Everyone's talking about changing roles at the footy club, more flexibility. How about you?
Yeah, myself, like a number of guys, have been educating ourselves and both theoretically and out in the field to get better at those scenarios. So I've been doing a bit of work with up the field, as a number of those guys have been doing a bit of work down forward as well. So if you have to mix and match during a game and go to another area, you want to be familiar with the structures and position and stuff like that. So guys are improving in that space.
You've always been a link man anyway. So with your particular role, would you say you've changed a bit? In what respect?
I don't want to give too much away, but as I said, there's just a number of guys, myself included, who are, looking to bring a bit more flexibility to the game this year. So hopefully we can see that early on in the year.
Lynchy, we hear people say that we bring a bit of flexibility.
Yeah.
It's 2017. If you can't play two roles, are you basically obsolete? I mean, you have to, don't you?
You do, but you do spend a lot of time in your specific area. Guys, when they constantly come to the club, they really want to work on their craft and especially their strengths. So, we have those line areas for a reason, but and not too often do guys do switch around. But the running game these days and rotations and whatnot, you has to be really flexible. So I think that's just the trend of the game where it's heading, and we've got to be up with the times.
So that's the norm.
I think so now, yeah.
There's been some of the young track burners, guys who haven't always been in your first 22, could be pushing after strong pre-seasons.
Yeah, look, I mean, guys like Harrison Wiggs had a really strong summer. Charlie Cameron is another who's really, progressing every year and improving every year, which is really impressive. Rory Atkins, Wayne Malira, these guys. Troy Menzel's had a really good summer. So, the names I'm speaking of are guys who have had limited opportunities, but who are just really, coming of age, but just having a really good summer. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they go in the pre-season, and hopefully they can take that into the start of the year and push for senior selection.
Riley Knight, is he another one of those?
He's another one, yeah. So sorry, I missed out on Riley. He'd probably get stuck in me for that. But there's just, most clubs I'm sure are the same, but we've got a number of guys who are really getting some continuity with their training, and it's really showing in our training at the moment.
With Menzel in particular, what's been about, what have you sort of seen from him in particular that's impressed you so far?
Just his confidence. I mean, since he came back and started training all the way back in October now, he's just been a confident kid. He's really worked harder to put his body in a position to be able to do that. But we know all the talent he's got and his capabilities. So hopefully when he takes his opportunity early on when we start playing games.
Is he a different player now than what you saw when he arrived here?
I just think he can do it for longer, and he's more confident and comfortable where he sits. I mean, transitioning to a new club's always difficult. I went through the same scenario he did. So. He's got a lot of talent, worked really hard, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him take his opportunity.
So physically he's better now?
Yeah, he's in great shape.
Yeah.
Crouching Tomo also guys working back from injuries, how are they sort of tracking on? Have they had any setbacks at all?
No, they're going really well. I think I'm not too sure on their time frame, but they, they're working hard to get back. So I wouldn't have thought they'd be too far away.
With those guys you mentioned, it's going to be more competition for spots, obviously, in your best 22 with those guys pushing hard. Does that make the whole club better, team better?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's going to be competition for spots if guys are pushing hard with their performance. So, as I said, a number of those guys need to take their opportunity, and I'm sure everyone's going to get a good amount of opportunity over the 3 pre-season games we've got. So, I'm looking forward to seeing that, and I'm sure there's a number of guys as well who are pretty keen to not let someone take their job. So.
How much does it help having a second-year coach for the first time in a while? It's a bit of a changing with your coaching personnel for different reasons in recent years. Now, stability with Pikey, has that helped? Yeah,
I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about all that. Obviously, there were some interesting, cases and scenarios that you don't really plan for. But Pikey, he's been, awesome. This summer and the 2 years that he's been at the helm in a pre-season period. So. He's made some tweaks, but we're very comfortable and confident in the game plan. He's delivering. The boys have all bought in, coaches as well, and we're excited for what prospects that brings us.
Lynch, could you see yourself playing the rest of your career here under Pikey?
Yep.
Easily, I mean, I know you're a Melbourne boy, but
yep.
This is the place that you'd envision some success happening. And
yep.
Just with the captains, obviously, you'd imagine that Tex will be named captain again at some point. Where are you guys at with picking your leadership group, and how far away do you think the announcement will be?
Yeah, look, that's something which we'll keep in house. As far as I'm concerned, Tex is the captain of this club.
I was reading the reports against other clubs in Melbourne have been trialling 16-a-side games for the AFL and stuff. Is that anything you guys have done, and do you see the game heading there at any point in the future?
No, because the rules are, 18-a-side, and that's always been the rule. I think, a lot of times during our training, in a pre-season period, you have a lot of guys doing different things. I know first-year players are getting managed at times. You've got guys who are getting managed. If they've got niggling injuries because it is pre-season, you take a cautious approach at times. So sometimes it's just limited numbers. You've got out in the track, so you have to do, focus on your numbers accordingly. So, sometimes we've had 14 on 14 at times, and for certain drills. So that's just the way it goes. So, you don't really want to have too many guys waiting on the sidelines, because it's all about trying to get as much into your legs as possible. But we've been trying to match him for a while now, and usually it's 18 v 18.
Lynch, there's been a few reports obviously about Mitch McGovern's situation, given he's off contract.
Yep.
Do you think he'll stay here next season, and also how important is sort of his role to the forward line and what he does for the team? Yeah, look, I hope so, and I think the reason he's probably getting spoken about is because the year he had last year, and he's turning himself into a quality player. So he should take some confidence in that, knowing he's getting spoken about a bit. But we're pretty confident that we can. Keep him here. He's turned himself into a really important part of our team, and I'm looking forward to seeing how he goes this year.
You sort of spoiled for choice in that forward line now?
We are, but as I said, there's a number of guys that are keeping everyone on their toes, and some of the guys I mentioned before, and there's going to be some opportunity given to those guys. So it's hopefully it can create a lot of competition for spots, and it can only make us better.
Is that hard to do as a youngster, to bide your time and then get in? I mean, they could get an offer to go somewhere else, and the attraction of getting immediate game time versus staying the course. How hard's that? Yeah, it is hard. You got to. It's the ones who are usually impatient are the ones that usually get the opportunity. So I know that, and I've experienced, if you sit back and accept that someone else is in that spot, you're never going to get it.
How good a captain is Tex?
Yeah, exceptional.
Well, what makes him so good?
I mean, he's our lead. He leads from the front, leads by example, on and off the field. His presence and the relationships he's got with people at this club are second to none. So he cares about everyone, probably even more so than himself at times. So, and I could sit here all day and run through all his attributes. But last year, it gets picked up by a lot of people. Last year, he gets voted the Players Association Captain of the Year as well. So, the recognition is not just internally. And
with the leadership group, players vote, I guess, again. Have you guys started that process yet?
No, as I said, we'll keep that in-house, and I'm sure we'll have something sorted before the start of the year.
Do you guys have an intra-club game on the horizon? So?
We don't really focus too much. All our training sessions, we focus on building up our match simulation. and this pre-season's been no different. So all our training sessions during the week, we increase the amount of game time we have through that, and that'll prepare us for the first pre-season game.
So nothing really set in stone ahead of that first JLT game?
Are you okay to play personally that first pre-season game? Okay.
Tom, you're last one. You're a big American sports fan, big Super Bowl fan, and you spent some time over there. Are there any lessons you learned from that or from your time in the US that you implement in your own program or anything here?
Yeah, so do a bit of travelling at the end of the year. And my partner's not too wrapped with it, with 2 kids at home, but the passion's second to none with their fans and that over there. So we were lucky enough. Actually, we had our 3-day break around the Super Bowl the other day, which was pleasing. So hopefully that doesn't change in the future. But everyone was pretty captivated by that in the other day, and the energy at training certainly was a reflection.
Who pushed for that 3-day break around Super Bowl?
I pushed for that 3
You pushed for it? Nice.
At what stage could you relax during that game?
Yeah, not at all. Yeah, it was. You always probably think about yourself and wanting to play on the big stage like that one day, but probably not that far down. Yeah, if I knew the end result, I would have you be that far down, but I don't think that would work too often with most clubs.
Can you put that in context? Like, what is it akin to? Is it like a 10-goal last quarter? How could you put it into footy context?
I'm not too sure. Yeah, it would have to be, I think. So, it would almost be like a 10-goal last quarter. So, yeah, I know the social media world went off its head, and it was just an incredible game. So.
Just the Super Bowl obviously captures everyone's imagination. Is there anything the AFL can learn from it, take from it? Obviously, they've got a hell of a lot more money and stuff like that. Is there anything we can take from it?
I'm not too sure. I know, Josh Jenkins wrote an article last year about a number of things we could take from the game over there. I think what I would like to see is, I think there were some pretty special moments in that game that I'm sure will be replayed over and over again due to, players having microphones and that I'm sure there's going to be documentaries written on it, and the access which sounds of the games bring in the NFL that you just wouldn't be able to have, or we don't have at the moment over here. So for the fans to be able to have that passion because they relive all these moments in great documentaries and TV shows, I think that's a space which we can explore.